Salt and Straws, Smile, Words, and Pictures. Continuing through the Rad Readers series, this is pint 3. And I always get excited. We've got a special one on our hands. This one is based off of the book Smile. Obviously by the title of the pint. Once again, it looks kind of like a, I don't know, children's books. It's kind of like a comic book type thing going on here. But I mean, it's another 200-page book. I can't believe kids are smart these days. I guess I don't know. I definitely would have never read a 200-page book, but props to these kids these days. Anyways, what is Smile, Words, and Pictures? So the flavor brings together everything you need to craft your own story. Hunks of yellow and pink, almond-infused sponge cake, silky stracciatella bits. Oh, so the sponge cake, the yellow and pink almond-infused sponge cake as a pencil and eraser. There's stracciatella bits that represent pencil shavings, and then of course a trusty vanilla ice cream as the notepad. So I like that they're they're bringing together a pencil, eraser, paper, pencil savings. They're bringing in this illustration for the kids' book, for the kids to enjoy while they're reading. And we've got a beauty on our hand here. So you can clearly see the vanilla ice cream, the stracciatella shavings, chunks, whatever you might want to call them. And then you got the pink and yellow almond infused sponge cake. Vanilla based, vanilla ice cream. Not gonna lie, I secretly love how Salt and Straw kept it simple this time. They probably knew the mix-ins needed to be, the star of the pint. They needed to speak for this ice cream. Now, while it is a beautiful vanilla, very tasty, it's classic, it's creamy, it's delicious. It's not my favorite. We've been down this road before. However, it is a very, very good vanilla that's executed really well. Now let's get right into these sponge cake pieces, chunks, whatever you might call them. They're perfect. Absolutely perfect. Texturally, they are, honestly, when I read sponge cake, I was expecting like really light, fluffy, spongy. While they do have is it fair to say a spongy like or a spongy chew, they're very dense, moist. I mean, they're thick, they're almost gooey. And I love, because of that, they have this awesome chew. Some of you are probably saying, well, that's not how sponge cake, no. This is great. I have no complaints here. On top of that, as y'all can tell, I'm just shoving it in my mouth. I can't even stop eating it. I'm trying to get you guys some more chunkage. The almond flavor. It's very strong. It's very noticeable. Which I am very excited for because it tends to be low-key in a lot of other almond flavored ice creams. So it's actually made with almond paste, which is just almond sugar, potassium sorbate, and almond flavor. So the ingredients are few for the paste. That's probably why it's heavy on the almond flavor. Semi-sweet. It's not overly sweet, semi-sweet. It honestly, and this is the easiest comparison, it honestly reminds me of just like a wedding cake type of flavor going on here. Totally get that, in my opinion, a classic wedding cake vibe with these sponge cake pieces. And just before we move on to the stracciatella, you can see those chunks are, they're large and they're everywhere. They're not letting up. It was like this from the minute I popped off the lid all the way down to probably a third of the way down. Now, stracciatella. I don't necessarily love it, but I think it works well here, especially paired with the almonds. You know, chocolate in general goes well with almonds, but you don't really see it in like a wedding cake type flavor, so it's kind of throwing me a little curveball. Nonetheless, they're good because it's like they're just, excuse me, as I clean up my fingers and the counter. They're just, I'm gonna say, strong enough. They are, like, they're not overpowering, and that's key here, because I think it was smart really having the almond flavor shine. They're more of a drier, more of a darker, slightly bitter chocolate flavor, which cuts a lot of that sweetness in the almond, despite them, you know, not being incredibly full of flavor. They're already strong on their own, so letting them be low key is better. I mean, strong on their own, basically not having so much, as big of chunks, evens out the flavors in this ice cream. And texturally, easily one of my favorites, because they're like, they crack apart when you bite into them, kind of crispy, but yet they're still strong enough to hold up. So you have this crunchy, it's best described as like a shaving, like this crunchy, thin, but sturdy piece of chocolate. I absolutely love this one, Salt and Straw. Executed perfectly. I love the simplicity of the base, as they wanted it to be, as they described in the description, the notepad to the pencil and eraser and the pencil shavings of the mix-ins. Vanilla, it's simple. It is a perfect canvas for this ice cream. Then you have the yellow and pink for the pencil and eraser, yellow and pink sponge cake pieces, full of almond flavor, perfect texture, all around, dense, gooey, chewy, but also sponge-like. And then you have the crispiness of the pencil shavings and the darker chocolate stracciatella. Easily my favorite of the pack so far, but we've got a few more, so let's hang tight. Smile, Words and Pictures gets a 9 out of 10